Oh my goodness, how you doing today, folks? I mean, we forgot to do a little maintenance here, but anyway, I'm gonna just me and Charlene will be here to kick off the show. We started a little bit early, but we're not going to charge anybody extra for that. Donna is there helping us. She's there in master control. The reason why, because here in Texas we've had a lot of power outages. Just in case that if I lose my power and all of a sudden I go like this, you'll know what happened to me, because if I lose power, I lose the Ethernet cable to my Wi-Fi and all that stuff, and I'm out of here. But we've got a treat for you today. A guy that I met about 9 or 10 months ago, maybe 11, I don't remember, almost a year. He was on the original series of the webinar we started back when all we had was Zoom and Facebook Live. And his name is Tim Ringo. And let me put his name up there on the banner there, Tim Ringo, Ringold. And he is a guy that helps healing using music. He's my kind of people. Charlene, you were right before the show, you were sharing with me and Donna when you got the information on Tim. What did you think of him?
Amazing, just amazing. I can't wait. I couldn't wait for today. This is going to be a treat. Just we can all use music in our lives and the healing part of it. He's going to be amazing. He's going to be a lot of fun today.
Oh, I got to make an announcement. Our sponsor, the 6-Minute Webinar, they're going to be putting on a 3-hour webinar on doing the 6-minute webinar. Okay. So you might think, well, would it take 3 hours to do a 6-minute webinar? Well, that's because they take people, the entire group, step by step by step. And when you finish, you will have a 6-minute webinar. Now, as our gift to you here on the show, because we always provide value, all you have to do is just send an email to us at inspiration@E360TV and say, I'm interested in the 6-minute webinar. And people ask me all the time, what's the 6-minute webinar? What makes it so valuable? The 6-minute webinar communicates to your ideal client on one specific thing. I like to use Stephanie Dwayne. I call her our she likes it. I call her the ka-ching lady. And because she said this 6-minute webinar is actually my ATM machine. And we go, really? That's before we called it the 6-minute webinar. We were calling it the 6-minute talk. That's the talk that me and Don put on. Don came up with it. We put that on in Phoenix back in, I think it was October sometime like that, 2019, before the pandemic hit. And so anyway, she calls it her ATM machine, and she's a clinical hypnotist. So therefore, if you're going to talk to someone about like losing weight or quit smoking or how to deal with anxiety, whatever it might be, you don't want to use the shotgun effect when you're trying to hit the target.
Right.
And I know, Charlene, I'll give you a moment to talk about it too here in just a second. But anyway, the 6-minute webinar, it just starts out with one sentence. You've attracted your ideal client. You've got everybody else that's not your client. They just went away. You repelled them. During this 6-minute webinar, I will give you 3 easy, proven steps on how you can lose weight. Those that's interested in losing weight, they'll hang around for 6 minutes. Those that aren't, they're out of here. And Charlene, you're familiar with that 6-minute webinar, aren't you?
It's amazing. It really helps you narrow down your thoughts and it redoes your goals to where you're not wasting time. And it's amazing. So by all means, send your email and check this out. It will change your business.
It will. And the beauty of it is that we have Don created Script Pal. And this is what that 3-hour workshop's all about. You're going to sit there and you're going to answer about 40 individual specific questions. Very, just like, what do you do? I help people lose weight. Okay, we're going to word it like this. Enter that. And it goes right down through the line. Then when you hit submit, the 6-minute webinar gets delivered directly to your email address.
That easy.
And yeah, and since it's coming from us as our gift, inspiration at e360tv.com. That's how you just write us and let us know you'd like to, get the link to it. We'll send it to you. Guess what the cost is? Zero. It's our gift to you. And we say free, we mean free to come to the webinar, and it's free to leave. No one's going to try to, lock the door on you or something like that. I'm just virtual door, that is, and try to sell you more. We don't play that game here. And we will never, ever, ever represent something that has a back door to it where they can, try to get you to, here's a little sample now, but you really want the meat and potatoes, you got to buy it because you will leave there at the 6-minute webinar. So just get in touch with us there at the Inspiration at E360 TV. And Charlene, I tell you, I better hush about the 6-minute webinar because we got Tim Ringo going to be coming on in just a few minutes. Give him a chance. And we're also just asked Tim, because I did this on the original webinar series. We was on there and I was out of words. I ran out of words to say, imagine that. And we had about 30 seconds to a minute left. And I told Tim, hey, Tim, you got your guitar? Yeah. I says, take us to close. And he did. So today, the last couple of minutes or whatever, Mr. Tim is going to turn this thing into a good old fashioned hootenanny. A lot of you young guys are saying, what's a hootenanny? Go look it up in your dictionary. What's a dictionary? That's not my problem. But before we bring Tim on board, I mean, I tell you right now, we just got Charlene, you always do the opening for us, so let's do a little opening right now.
Hi, and welcome to the Messages of Inspiration and Hope show that's proudly sponsored by the 6-minute webinar. Today we have some exciting and very interesting guests, real people just like you and me. Thank you for tuning in. Enjoy the show. Now here's Jim.
And we're back. How you doing? You must have changed clothes real quickly the time you did that interview. I mean, you're a quick change artist there. But I tell you what, we just got to invite Tim Ringo to the stage. Ladies and gentlemen, you're in for a treat because when I said this guy uses music as music therapy, wait till you hear his story. Wait till you hear the information he shares with you. And like I said when I made the announcement, do you like good music? Yeah. Well, that's sweet soul music. Here he is. How you doing, sir?
Hello. Nice to be with you, Jim and Charlene. Thanks for having me.
Great to have you here.
Yeah, you bet. Let me put your name up there, Mr. Tim Ringo. We're so glad that you were able to join us, and thank you so much for responding so quickly to my oversight and double checking. He got the information request last night about 2:00 in the morning or something like that. He got it back to me real quickly, and I appreciate that, Tim. Thank you so much.
No problem.
Yeah. So share with the folks a little bit about who Tim Ringo is, sir.
Sure. So, hey, everybody. So I'm a young guy at heart. And every day when I break out the razor blades to shave, I sing, shaving off the years. That's the song I sing every morning as I shave all that gray away because I am a kid at heart and I want to see that kid in the mirror as much as possible because what I get to do for a living is I get to play for a living.
Wow.
Now, most adults think about their activity as work. I get it. Not me. Nope. Because when you go to start music, what's the button you press? The work button or the play button?
Play. Yeah.
You got it. That's it. You press the play button. So as a board certified music therapist, I show people how to reach for music in their toughest times to help with stress, to help with pain, to help with grief, overcome adversity. But we don't work music. We play it, baby. So that is I am blessed to do day after day throughout my adult life is I play for a living and help people heal with one of their oldest and best friends, which is music. I have never introduced anybody to music. Like, hey, there's this thing. It's really great. You should check it out. It's called music. What? I've never heard of it. Said no one ever. I've never had that conversation in all the years, right? All the conferences, the seminars, the retreats. The one time I had a woman say to me, she goes, I don't listen to music.
Oh.
I only listen to talk radio. And I said, you look it.
Yeah.
She was like the dullest human I had ever encountered in my life. Like an archaeologist will come across her bones one day. She's going to be a statistical outlier. The only one I know that's not into music, but the rest of us mere mortals.
That's right.
We know, we like, and we trust music, and we know that it's good for our mood, and we know it's good for our soul.
Yeah.
But my degree and my expertise is in how music helps our brain and our body. Yeah. And that's really fascinating because it's something that we all like already. But then when people find out the science behind music, and it really validates all those amazing experiences you've already had with it. Now you know why.
I've got to share something with you, my man. Because when you first came on the webinar series, I didn't know anything about you because we were doing a call for speakers and I was doing 3 guests per hour. And I'm still trying to figure out how to spell Zoom and get this thing to working, And of course, they were having all kind of technical issues and I'd get bumped off. And I go, oh man, how do I get back into that thing, Because the system could not logistically support the demand because of the pandemic. And so you came on and I'm listening to you. I'm going like, holy enchiladas, really? So then I got smart, being a country boy that I am. Did you know that studies have proven that when the ranchers play music to their cows, science has proven this now, their cows will produce more milk.
Wow.
You didn't know that?
No, I'm a dazzling urbanite myself or a suburbanite. So, I don't know what it's like on the ranch.
There's a place in the world for us country boys with our knowledge.
There's a great Facebook video going around right now, and it's a young woman with her acoustic guitar, and she's sitting cross-legged, and there is a cow with its head in her lap, taking a nap to her playing her guitar.
Oh
yeah.
That's sweet.
Now, again,
the vibration from that, bet.
That just calms the nervous system of any mammal, I guess. And I was just blown away by that video. I was just like, I would not know what to do with a cow myself. I don't even eat them, so I wouldn't even know how to do that. But like in terms of just sitting down, like, no, come over here, Bessie. It's okay.
Yeah, you put a daisy in her mouth.
Put your head in my lap. And down came Daisy. And I was like, powerful.
Wow.
We've got Helene Wilson on, and she's commenting. She says hello to Charlene. Hello, Jim Grant. Hey, Helene, how you doing? Hello, Mr. Tim Ringo. You got promoted, Mr. Tim Ringo.
All right. Hello.
Yeah.
He's the important one here.
Yeah, you bet. That's right. The one is young at heart, keeps the gray away and shaves every day.
That's it.
I like that. I like that. I really do. And she says, I'm listening to music right now. But, I've traveled around the world, different places. And even though I do not know any foreign languages to speak of, but when they play music and stuff like that, good example is right over in Louisiana with the Cajun music. I mean, I can't understand those folks. Are you kidding me? I mean, they have that certain twang or whatever. They have it, I forget what they call it there. They got
the Creole.
The Creole,
Yeah.
And every now and then I can put a couple of things together, but for the most part, I'm lost. I'm just sitting there looking like, But the music, no matter where you go, you may not understand the lyrics. Well, that's true of some of the American songs with, some of the way some of the singers would sing,
100%.
But the music is what moves you.
Yes.
That's what touches you. And how many times we've all been going down the road, or radio come on the song or anything like that, radio song coming on the radio, excuse me, and phew, you're back there at that
That's
moment
right. That's
Yeah.
right.
because
Very
music
powerful.
it just brands it right into your brain. That's just amazes, isn't it?
Yeah, one of the joys of my work is working in different clinical populations who are struggling
Mm,
with different symptoms and using music to help them. So, for
mhm.
example, early in my career, I would work with patients and residents who had dementia and Alzheimer's, and they couldn't tell you where they were, what day of the week it is.
Right.
But if I played, I never forget this story. This gentleman has passed away now, and we'll call him William.
Mhm.
That wasn't his
Sure.
name, but we'll call him William. William did not know where he was. He was in a residential facility for people who couldn't live independently anymore.
Right.
And I played the Caisson song, which is a military song for the Army.
Army.
It's kind of like the
Yeah,
Army anthem, if you will.
it is.
And
Mhm.
and after I played the song, he told me a story about when he served in World War II. He
Mm.
was in Italy and his dad was stationed in Africa. And on this one particular weekend, whoever was in charge flew him and his dad to a neutral island in the Mediterranean so they could have a weekend R&R to see each other.
Oh,
Wow.
wow.
Now,
That's
first of
neat.
all, the year that he told this story was probably 2008 or 9.
Mhm.
The year that the event happened was, somewhere in 1942, 3, 4, right around there.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, and here is a gentleman who cannot tell you where he is, but the song opened a file in
Mhm.
his
Right.
memory that was
Right.
Yeah.
fully intact,
Mhm.
Oh,
Yeah.
fully
Exactly.
intact. And one of the techniques that I use with patients is I will take them through memories with music. And music is like a memory marker. It's almost like if you pulled out an old school file cabinet and there's like the little tabs.
Right. Right.
Imagine that a song
yeah.
is written on the tab.
Mhm.
And then when you play the song,
Mhm.
all the information that you've stored along with that song is still
It's
in
in
there.
there. Yeah.
Right. Which
Yeah.
is why if
Oh,
you play Rod Stewart's Some Guys Get All the
all
Love,
the
I will cry and think about Jenny Orgera, who broke my heart when I was
oh,
in middle school, right? And I'm in my backyard listening
Mhm.
to this song on my gray boombox, and I'm like, "Whoa," and I know the whole chorus, and it's a terrible song.
Mm.
And the song probably came out in 1983 or 84, and here we
yeah.
are.
Yeah.
And I don't remember many things along between now and then, but if you play that song, all that data, boop,
Yeah.
is there. And so we can use music as a bridge to
Mhm.
connect people to
Yes.
experiences that they've had that they just forgot how to access that memory. And the
Mhm.
music is the bridge that brings them back to that memory.
Oh, yeah. And then, sometimes in the morning I get up because I like music and. Uh, you didn't know I used to be, been requested to sing tenor, have you?
No.
Yeah, that's 10 or 12 miles away.
Hey.
No, but sincerely, you can be in the shower and all of a sudden a song will come on your mind. You're like, where did that come from?
Mm,
And it
right?
can take you on a journey. And, it's just amazing how music just really kind of like strums the soul, if that's
Yes.
a good way of putting it,
There you
because
go.
it brings you, it brings you alive at that moment. And everything
Yeah,
is fresh within your mind.
that's right.
That's what blows me away. And I
And
see
some
Donna, I see Donna back there drinking coffee, and so I guess she's a working hard. She's back there in master control. She's laughing at us.
Enjoying herself.
Oh yeah, I had to say something to her there because bless her heart, she's a real trooper with us here at the station.
Yeah.
But Tim,
well,
I tell you, go ahead, sir.
I was going to say a lot of us are feeling some fatigue right now
Yes.
because uh, with the pandemic,
Oh yeah.
there's kind of an adrenaline response to adversity for human
Mhm.
beings, where we can kind of dig in and rise to the occasion. But that muscle is more of like a sprint type of muscle where it
Yeah.
activates to move fast. It's kind of like the fight or flight response within our nervous system.
Mm.
The fight or flight response is not let's walk away. It's let's run away.
Yeah.
It's a high energy, a lot of chemicals move through our body to mobilize us to survive the stress. Well, here we are at the time of this recording in February of 2021. We're coming up on a year, we're getting close to the year anniversary of lockdown. This is not a sprint. This is a marathon. And what a lot of people are noticing is they're wearing out. They're just run down because they've been in this activation mode trying to overcome, right? And rise to the occasion, except that particular muscle in our body isn't designed for a marathon, it's designed for a sprint. So people are starting to wear out. And so this is one of the things I want to share with everybody is when the stress of your day, like your stress is in the present, right here with you, what you need to do is be able to check out in a healthy way. And what most of us do is we'll reach for our phone, or we'll reach for the Netflix button on our remote control, or we'll reach for the fridge or the pantry in order to kind of numb those feelings. And remember the old commercial, Calgon, take me away.
Oh yeah.
Remember
that? Yeah.
That was great advertising. And it showed like a mom with the crazy kids and she just wants a bath. She just wants to escape. We want to escape. Our brain and our nervous system, sometimes it just needs a break. And so what you can do with music is you can create for yourself a playlist that's curated to allow you to escape. And so you can, for example, let's say you went on a vacation somewhere, and I'm going to use an example of this. So I'm in the Pacific Northwest. I'm on vacation. And on that vacation, we listened to a particular CD. It was in the car, like in the rental, like as we were driving, right? So it was like the soundtrack of the vacation. Now what I can do is when I'm really stressed in the moment today, I can put that music on and I can sit back and the music will take me back to the Pacific Northwest because I have a link between the music and the memory, as we were talking about, right? Music takes you places. So instead of having it happen accidentally, where the radio will come on and it's just an incidental song and it takes you somewhere, you can prescribe these experiences yourself very easily. And so if you just take a second when you're not stressed to think about, like, maybe I'll create a vacation playlist. What were some songs that will remind me of a vacation that I was on that was a particularly enjoyable time? Three songs, just 3 songs. And when the stress is really in your face, you go for a walk, get off screens, go for a walk to that playlist. By the time you come back, your nervous system will have reset and you'll be ready to take on whatever it is you're dealing with.
I've never even thought about that. But Charlene, as he was explaining that, it makes perfect sense, doesn't it?
It does. It does.
Most of us have used music, as an entertainment device or as an educational device, but we all reach for music as a therapeutic device. I mean, that's what blues music is for. When we're feeling sad, we need the blues. Like, we need to feel the feelings we're feeling. That's what like breakup music is all about. Like, that's why Adele is so successful, because she had her heart broken and then stepped on and then trampled, and she wrote about it. And everyone else who ever had their heart broken, stepped on and trampled could relate.
I feel like that.
Thank you. Yes, I'm not alone.
Yeah. It's kind of like that old song. And that's a couple of things I want to mention. One is Peggy Lee. Is that all there is? Is that all there is, my friend? Then let's keep dancing. We'll break out the booze. That was a song that she sang. And it starts off when she was a kid, a fire in her house, and then she went to the circus and a couple other things. But anyway, it really amazes me how music just really takes us back to a point. And goodness, I think about myself. There's one particular song when I hear, I know exactly where I was, because this guy loved that song. I went to his place over there. We were in Vietnam together, and he just loved that group. and it was A Piece of My Heart by Janis Joplin. He loved that song, and I mean, every time I hear it, me and him are in that hooch, and we're drinking some hooch.
Yep.
I
Yep.
mean,
Absolutely.
that's just the way our world turned. And, Charlene, especially with your organization, Healing Acres Never Again, my goodness. Do you ever use any type of therapy like this? Does it give you any ideas, Charlene?
I think it's a great idea because I'm all about nature and getting out
Mhm.
under the trees and
Mm,
being outside. But music is just a part of that. Even if it's like the birds, I consider that music. But the actual music is awesome. And I know that my son had autism, and
okay.
I taught him at homeschool. And I remember when I pulled him out of kindergarten, they said, "Oh, he just can't learn." I'm like, "No, he's very smart. He's doing long division. He can do this." And
Yeah.
I would sing the problems to him, and he would sing them back because he
Brilliant.
couldn't talk. It was just a different part of the brain.
Yes.
And he just knew thousands of songs. And
Wow.
that's just what clicked for him. So I know that this is absolutely true.
Music
And
therapy is wildly effective with kids with
Mhm.
autism because
yeah,
of what
Yeah.
you're saying. Music
yeah.
is unlike any other stimulus. This is important. Music is unlike any other stimulus in nature. So for mammals, when we observe or perceive our external world, certain parts of the brain will light up for visual stimuli. Certain
Mhm.
part of the brain will light up for olfactory stimuli, so smell, right? Or
Okay.
for sensory, for touch, right? But the entire brain is implicated when we listen to music. So
Mhm.
every subregion of the brain has to do a job to process the music. Now, why that's relevant is for anybody who has any challenge or what's the right word? Just challenge within their brain where let's say there's a portion of their brain that's not firing properly because
Mhm.
the brain is a bunch of neural networks that are redundant and there are multiple pathways, multiple streets connect
Okay.
point A to point B in the brain. The music will bypass the implicated areas and it
Mhm.
recruits everything to work together in harmony. And so it really turbocharges the brain. And I've seen it many times working with kids with developmental and intellectual disabilities or delays, where I'll go into a facility and we might have a patient or a resident there, and I start playing and they start singing, and the staff
Yes.
starts crying, and I'm like,
Mhm.
"Uh-oh, what did I do wrong?" And they're like, "No, you don't understand. We've never heard him speak."
Mm-mm.
But the
Mhm.
music harnesses the areas of his brain that do work, and so he's able to sing but
Beautifully.
even when he
Yeah.
can't speak. So your son's story is like, we see that happen all the time. And in fact, with brain injuries, the same thing happens. So if you guys remember the Arizona State Representative Gabby Giffords,
Yes.
she was shot a few years back.
Yeah.
She made a miraculous recovery to a traumatic brain injury, a bullet to the head, bullet to the brain. She
Yeah.
used music therapy to learn how to speak again. And so
Wow.
for patients with
Oh.
traumatic brain injuries and with strokes, what they will teach them how to do is they'll teach them how to sing their
Wow.
communication needs. And
Mm.
then because a different part of the brain is working than just for speech. So if the area of expressive speech is implicated, we can teach them to sing even if they
Mhm.
can't speak, and then
I love it.
generalize that over time. And they'll just build it's like building a new bridge when the old bridge is tired. We're going to
Mhm.
build a new bridge next to it. You've seen that in construction, right? You'll be like driving on an
Yeah.
interstate and then there's this little rickety old bridge right next to it that nobody's on. The
Mhm.
brain works exactly the same way, and music helps build those bridges.
Yeah.
I love it. I think it's good for anybody who's gone through any kind of a trauma,
Mhm.
just to be able to harness that, just to be able
Mhm.
to relax.
Yes.
And it's amazing. It's
Yep.
amazing what music can do.
Yeah, because a lot of people have myths about how music can do stuff like that, and
Mm.
you may have run into some people that think just because you're a great artist and you're a singer and all that, that you're trying to sell them some abracadabra type of therapy. But I mean, what are some of the myths that we can not realize or appreciate about music?
Yeah. So the first myth around music is that there's a gene for it. So, you know, like you guys remember, we're all over 30 here. So we remember there was a time when the Human Genome Project did not exist. And
Mhm.
we did not have any understanding of the implication of genes on our ability to do things or not do things. And then the Human Genome Project occurred, and we mapped the human genome, and we said genes are the answer. And there's a gene for this, and there's a gene for that, as if there were single genes responsible for complex health outcomes. It's not true. That is us trying to simplify complexity. So there's no gene for music. It's not that you didn't get the music gene or got the music gene. So I want to just blow this up right away. Every single human body runs on rhythm.
Yes.
There you go. Never thought of that.
Yeah.
Right? Watch my teeth.
I've got
We chew in rhythm. We walk in rhythm. We talk in rhythm. We sleep in rhythm. Do this with me since we're on camera. Imagine you have an itch on the back of your head. Go ahead and scratch it. Go ahead and do this so everyone can see. Go ahead, Jim. Scratch that itch. Imagine you got an itch. Just go ahead and scratch the itch. See how I'm scratching the itch?
Yep.
You scratch in perfect rhythm.
True.
Yeah.
True.
Nobody thinks about that, right? But our bodies are musical. There is no gene for musicality. Your body is musical. So what that means is rhythm being the fundamental like foundation of music. Every cell in your body runs on rhythm. Every organ runs on rhythm. Every system runs on rhythm. And then not only does your body run on rhythm, you run on rhythm in your day, in your week, your calendar. It's all rhythm. Now, some of us dance better than others.
Yes.
That's not rhythm. That's coordination.
Yeah. Yeah. And
so the bottom line is everybody can be musical. And within 60 seconds, normally if we were in like a conference or a retreat, I give out these little egg shakers. And what I do is everybody gets one. I walk out on stage. I don't talk. I just go. And within 4 beats, whether there's 8, 80, or 800, we're in one rhythm. We've synced into one rhythm. And then I change it. I slow it down. I speed it up. And for 60 seconds, I don't do anything but lead them through a musical experience. And then I stop and everybody stops together. And everybody in the room just made music before I even open my mouth. And then I ask the group, like, okay, raise your hand if you don't have any rhythm. A bunch of people raise their hand. And then I say, now the rest of you, how many of you aren't musical? Like, raise your hand. And then I'm like, how did you just do what you just did? And they're like, wait a minute, what just happened? And I'm like, my point is that there's this myth of musicality. Everybody is musical. You don't have to be a musician to be musical. And so most of the time, sadly, it's the music teacher that tells people they're not musical, which is
right.
Like,
that is sad.
I hear that all the time when I travel. Like, people will come up to me afterwards, Tim, my music teacher told me for Saturday's concert, just move your lips. And for 40 years, I haven't sung. And then I sang in your session today for the first time. And you gave me my voice back. You gave me my voice back. That's powerful. So that's the first myth that we have. The second myth, Jim, is that music's hard, expensive, and time-consuming to learn. Now, first of all, in our educational system, if you still have music, you're lucky. And if you do, you start out on one of the most evil devices ever invented, which is the recorder. How many of you remember the recorder? Horrible, horrible device. Impossible. Oh, 3.
You're bringing the nightmares back.
Oh, exactly. We're all going to have some traumatic recall here from our days with the recorder. The recorder is a terrible. I understand because it's inexpensive to manufacture and you could wipe it down, but it makes a terrible sound. It's very hard to actually play properly, even with proper skill. And the orchestral instruments and the band instruments that we try to get kids to learn, if you wanted to invent the most complicated instruments and the most complicated style of music, you would invent Western, European, classical, band, and orchestral instruments and music. It is like the Mount Everest of musical style with the Mount Everest of musical instruments. So people have usually a really unsuccessful experience trying to learn either those types of instruments or that type of music. And it's a tiny, tiny, tiny sliver of the world of music. But for some reason in our culture, we decided that we're going to teach the toughest thing ever invented in the realm of music. And then people are going to have to struggle with their musical identity. So there are instruments that for under $100, you can be successful playing anytime you want. So if you can scratch an itch, you can play an egg shaker. If you can hammer a nail, you can drum. If you can sigh, you can sing. Only 3 out of 100 people have amusia, which is to be tone deaf. The other 97 are just untrained. That's all.
Yeah.
So it is far easier to make music than we realize, and every one of us can be musical.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I tell you, it's really amazing, because a lot of people, they're just, I think their embarrassment holds them back, or their self-doubt, or whatever.
100%,
But,
especially as adults, right? Good thing as adults, we don't learn to walk. Jim, you've tried to walk 7 times today and you fell every time. I just don't think this is really, what you were cut out to do. I think we have
Not your thing.
we have an office job for you where you just sit in a chair, or I fell 7 times today. It must be a sign.
Yeah.
It must mean something.
Exactly.
Right. And
So either I
tell those stories all the time.
Yeah, so either I can work at the office, or I can be a dog walker and walk like the dog. It's really true though, because as adults, we put parameters around ourselves that because we're comfortable with that.
Yep.
It's okay. This is our comfort zone. Okay, you fell 7 times. Well, obviously, you don't know what you're doing. So, that's just the way that we are. That's just the way we're wired.
It's true.
And
that's why it's so important for kids to learn music, because what it teaches them is something called frustration tolerance. And frustration tolerance is an actual skill where you stick with something without giving up. That's what frustration tolerance is. So they did this great study with kids, and they broke them into 2 groups, kids who had taken music lessons and kids who didn't. They gave them all a math problem and a timer. And they said, hit the timer to start the problem, and then hit the timer again when you either quit or you solve the problem. The problem was that it was an unsolvable problem. There was no answer. So what they were really measuring was how long before they gave up. And what they noticed was that the kids who had music lessons stayed with, worked with, struggled with, wrestled with the problem 11 times longer.
Wow.
Than kids without music lessons.
That's amazing, because when you said the problems that were unsolvable, I had a flashback to my days in high school. I thought, well, okay, that must have been some of the things that they laid on us, and we didn't know.
That explains it. I was in a research study. I didn't even know.
Yeah, I mean, what did I know?
Yeah. But I think it's so important. Like, for example, here we are using StreamYard. Let's bring this into right into the present moment. A year ago, none of us were using StreamYard.
Right.
We didn't know what StreamYard was.
Yeah.
And here we are.
Right? And we had to solve the problem called StreamYard.
Yeah.
Right. I did not have these in-ear monitors a year ago. And I didn't know how to use all kinds of software on my computer a year ago. But then we had this small problem called a global pandemic, and we had to solve for that in some way. And so we had to get creative, and we had to stick with, like, you didn't give up when you were like, I got to figure out how to run this ticker tape. Like people are like, you know what? It's too much for me. I give up. And then what happens? Well, they give up. That's fine. They feel comfortable. But guess what? The world doesn't get the impact of what their message is
Mhm.
because they gave up on a
Oh,
problem they had to overcome to get their message out.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
That's
So
like,
how many times do we do that in this world? We give up on
yeah.
ourselves, right? Just because we get
Mhm.
frustrated, we go do something else.
And
Wow.
then we put salt on the wound. We kind of like make ourselves, we beat ourselves up unmercifully, and that,
Yes.
it's
Mhm.
uncalled for, because a lot of the time it's just that we did not understand the facts.
Yes.
We made our decision on myths or on ignorance, and we punish ourselves on top of that.
Yep.
And you're right, because I didn't know anything about StreamYard. We started out on Zoom and Facebook Live, and then we get invited to join the E360 TV, and what's that? That's a live streaming TV channel. Okay, I think I know. I've heard that. I'm not how it works. So we get on here because they give us the RTMP code, okay, which interfaces with E360 TV, which gets us out there. And I'm going like, and all I gotta do is push play.
Just push the button.
I had to come back to that, my man.
Nicely done. Well done. Yeah. So one of the things that music also allows us to do, so with our nervous system, look, when we were in school, basically all we ever learned was that we had one. But the
Mhm.
nervous system is very complex. So it was very quickly, it went over most of our heads pretty quickly how the nervous system actually works. It was like, axons, dendrites, my head just exploded.
Yeah,
So we know we have one, but we don't know how it works, right?
yeah.
So what I want people to understand is your nervous system, there's a part of your nervous system that's basically like a 3-speed bike.
Mhm.
It has 3 gears. The resting and digesting gear, your default gear, is basically programmed as a mammal for you to be creative and for you to connect with other humans. That's
Mm.
how human beings have dominated the natural
Mm.
world, is because we learned how to connect with each other and
Yeah.
to collaborate.
Mm.
And so when we're in our normal safety mode of where we're chilled and our organs are all activated and we're digesting our food, we're in a creative space where we can think
Mhm.
about the future.
Mm.
Other mammals don't have that capacity that we know of to actually envision a
Mhm.
different future, right?
Right.
True.
So that's a gift, but that
Mm.
gear only works when we're relaxed.
That's right.
When we get stressed, our
Mhm.
3-speed bike changes gears. And the
Mhm.
second gear we go into is the fight or flight response, the stress
Right.
response. Most
Mhm.
people they have a sense that that's there, right? So
Yeah.
we go from creativity to reactivity, and
Yeah.
we go from connect to protect.
Yeah.
So
Because we're
that's
all
the
born.
fight response.
Yeah, we're all born in that survival mode, and we get into that, stay in that physical mode of, protect and all that.
Yep.
We have just slammed the door on the universe, because that's where the creativity
That's right.
lives.
That's right. That's right. It's
And
outside of us.
yeah,
So
and
if
you
we
said you
disconnect,
you said something earlier about school, and I got to tell you what came in my mind. And I've often thought about this, and I've wondered, who is the sick Einstein in biology that thought we were going to get, a lot of knowledge, a lot of value out of dissecting frogs, and then they schedule that stupid class right before lunch.
Lunch.
I mean, what? I'm going like, man, those things stink, and I ain't into cutting up stuff. Come on.
I have an answer for that.
Okay.
Uh-oh.
They wanted you in that classroom on an empty stomach.
Oh, there you go.
Ah,
They did not want lunch to
yeah,
join that frog on that tray.
I,
that's
I,
right.
I
Because all we
agree.
have to all do, we can all pause and remember the smell of that frog. There's nothing
Oh
Mhm.
quite
yeah,
like it. There
oh
is
yeah,
nothing quite
yeah,
like it.
yeah. Thank you. Yeah, that's for sure. That's one of those things that you never forget. It's
That's
just
right. That's
it's kind
right.
of like going down the road and the dead skunk in the middle of the road, stinking the highway. Well, who was that? Luton Wainwright the third or something, or 13, or whatever the heck his name was. I forget now, but that was a
Yeah, that's
song
it.
that could stick in your mind. And every time
There
you
you
smell
go.
a skunk, it comes to your mind.
That's right.
Ooh.
That's right.
Oh, that's
So
right.
the piece I want to just wrap up with that story
Yeah,
about the nervous system and your 3-speed bike is
that's right.
that when in today's pandemic, we are getting stressed chronically.
Mhm.
And we were before the pandemic even started in our 21st century hyper stimulated culture. And if we don't have a way to reset, change gears back to rest and digest, create and connect, then like you said, we miss all the opportunities that are literally just sitting right here. So when we're in rest and digest, we can see the opportunity. When
Mhm.
we're in protection mode,
Yeah.
suddenly those opportunities are no longer in view and we miss
Yeah.
them. And the beauty is that when used correctly, music will reset the nervous system
Mm.
faster than any oral medication.
Wow.
Wow.
That's,
This is important because we live in a culture that relies on medication.
Yes.
And
oh
for
yeah.
many, many things, it can be a lifesaver. But when it comes to the day-to-day stress that we're all under, it's not a lifesaver. It is not effective for dealing with chronic stress. So we need to reach for habits, behaviors that are going to reset it fast and
Mhm.
efficiently and something we enjoy. I mean, it's one thing to tell someone who has depression to go
Mhm.
exercise because it's more effective than taking SSRIs. The
Mhm.
problem with that is motivation.
Mhm.
They don't want to go
Mhm.
exercise because they're feeling depressed. The
Right.
beauty about music for stress relief is that when we're stressed, if I say, you know what, if you just take a few minutes and go listen to some relaxing music, this is going to reset like that.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Mhm.
Yes,
Yeah.
please. Right. We don't have that same kind of like, oh, I got to get motivated to listen to
Yeah.
music. Nobody
Right.
suffers from a lack of motivation to listen to their favorite music. That is not a
Oh
hard
Right.
yeah.
sell.
Oh
So
yeah.
it's about putting the dots, connecting the dots so that I know that when I am stressed, if I reach for music, that's going to reset my stress fast. And
Mhm.
that's going to be good for me, in terms of this connection. But the other piece is my immune system will work better if
Yeah.
I am in my rest and digest mode. If I'm in my stress response mode all the time, my immune system wears out. And
Mhm.
right now, we all want a healthy immune system.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, we need it. We desperately need it.
Yep.
It's amazing you're talking there because a lot of times when I'm working on something and I'm making progress, it's amazing how certain songs will pop in my mind. And
Mm,
one of my favorite ones you'll like is Carole King. I
mm,
feel the earth move
Well,
under my
under
feet.
my feet.
Oh yeah. I mean that'll get you going. And because
absolutely.
we are a spirit and we definitely got rhythm. And
Yes, we do.
yeah, I like what you said there. When you can't dance, that's not rhythm. It's just like a coordination or
That's
too much
coordination.
alcohol.
Yeah, we've seen that
I've
before.
heard that's what it might be. I don't know.
Or
That's right. You observed it at a wedding or two, but you were sitting down. It wasn't
Right,
you.
right.
So
I was behaving.
that's right.
Yeah, I got to tell you a quick little funny story. We were at an event and we were instructors, and this is about oh gosh, I just became an instructor, and we were over in Arkansas. I think yeah, it was Arkansas, and so we go out and we're going to have a little party there, and the guys want to go to a karaoke bar, and I was the designated driver for the designated drunks, so I'm bored, right? So I go over to the DJ and I tell him who I am. I said, let's have a little fun. So I started mixing up the songs. Can you imagine, a guy trying to sing Blue Bayou by Linda Ronstadt? I mean, he absolutely slaughtered it. It was
Oh, I'm
absolutely
sure.
extreme. And then another guy who his voice needed a lot of training. I'll say that.
Well said.
I had him singing New York" by Frank
Hey,
Sinatra.
that's one of my favorites.
And then we get in the car and we're driving back, and it says, "Man, that guy kept messing up our songs." Yeah, mine too, man. Wow, what was it wrong with him? And then somebody snitched me off, and then well, I was a sorry one. That's why can't I just be your regular, average, run of the mill one? Why I got to be a sorry one too? That's cold blooded. But I want to ask you a question. You're talking about some apps out there that can help people relax
Mm,
and or make music. Yeah, let's.
yeah, yeah.
Would
So
you
this
share that with us?
this device is amazing right now because in human history we have never had I mean, just never had
Mhm.
Oh, yeah.
this is a blank canvas.
Mhm.
That's what this is. And it's what people have created on it is astounding, and particularly in the world of music, because to make music, a lot of people have this story that we talked about earlier, that they're not
Right,
musical,
right.
right? So
Yeah.
then they don't have the experience of creating music for themselves. So I'm going to show you an app right now. It's a free app, okay? And
Mhm.
it's called Launchpad, okay?
Oop,
So
I like that.
I'm going to click on Launchpad right here, right? And I'm going to open it up. Let's see if I can do
Mm.
this without looking at it. There we go. So I open up Launchpad. Now, Launchpad,
Look at
now
that.
you'll see that it says retro funk at the top. So
Mhm.
in this app, it creates all kinds of samples of drums, bass, guitar, keyboards, vocals, and it organizes them in a way that every single sample is harmonious with every other sample. There are no
Wow.
wrong notes, and there's nothing out of time.
You say it's Launchpad?
Launchpad, and it's
Launchpad.
free, and you can load up different styles of music in Launchpad, and it'll give you 64 different samples that all play together, and you sound great. So watch, for example. Now, I'm not looking at the screen. I'm like, oh, let's take that one. Okay, so it's got a little bit of a beat going on. Oh, let's add something else. Okay, now we got a little 80s beat going on. Let's add some bass.
I
That's
like that.
Right
fun.
now, what did I do? I pressed 3 buttons. That's all I did. And then let's add some keyboards, or right? Everything works with everything else. And then
Wow.
I can stop it on a dime. I can do all kinds of things to it. And then I just turn them off.
Wow.
You put your earbuds in and you play with this, and you can mix music that's completely spontaneous. And I will do this on the plane when I'm flying to speaking gigs. I'll just mix
Oh,
music
yeah.
for an hour. I'll be like a DJ. I just mix a set while I'm in the air, and it's all in the phone, so I don't need Wi-Fi, and it's
Mm.
Oh,
free,
that's
right?
awesome. I
So
That's
love
so
that.
for someone,
is that the website down there, sir? Right quickly?
Launchpad, that's
Yeah,
it. Yeah. I
.net?
I don't know if it's .net, but I know if you're gonna download it on your phone, you would just go to your app store and you would look for Launchpad,
Look for Launchpad.
and
Okay,
you'll find it.
okay.
So it allows anybody with any level of musical experience the ability to sound like a DJ and have
Yeah.
fun making music.
What's neat
Yeah.
about that came in my mind is that you could create your own individual specialized music for your own videos or
Yeah.
whatever. I'm
Yep.
like, holy enchiladas, man, that's sweet.
Absolutely. I mean, the algorithm of like this, the possibilities of just this one set of samples, right?
Mm.
64 times 64, like whatever, like the number of different things you can do with just this. And when you go into the app, you can pick all these different styles, and it'll load up 64 different sounds, and then 64
Mm.
more different sounds, depending on what you want to do. So that is a really fun way to engage with music without being musical. And then if you just want apps that help you to relax, people have probably heard of Calm by now. That's a really really good app. Headspace is one of my favorites. One of them, Insight Timer, another one of my favorites, but one of them that doesn't get quite the same amount of recognition because of the advertising is called Relax Melodies.
Mm.
And Relax Melodies is really cool because you can select the sounds yourself and not just pick somebody else's mix. So, like my daughter, she likes the sound of cats purring
Mhm.
and campfire.
Oh, nice.
So when she was struggling a couple of years back with some anxiety to go to sleep, I let her use my iPad, and there's a timer where it'll turn off after 30 minutes, and she would go to sleep listening to campfire and cat
Oh,
purring.
wow.
So you
Nice.
and so Charlene, to your point about the sounds of nature, what's really cool
Yeah.
about Relax Melodies is it has all kinds of nature sounds and even some urban sounds, because a lot of people who grew up in an urban environment are used to urban sounds. They're rhythmic, they're comfortable. It could be a vacuum, it could be a
That's true.
fan, and for whatever reason, it normalizes their experience. So if you go, let's say you're someone who's used to a lot of noise pollution, and then you move and you're somewhere really quiet, that freaks people out.
Can't sleep.
Yeah.
No, they
Yeah.
can't sleep, right? You'd think this is great. No, their brain's like, I'm used to stimulation. Give me something.
Yeah.
And Zap will
Wow.
give you just enough, it's like you can curate the sound of your sleep.
I
Yeah.
love that. I love water. I love the
Mm.
sound of rain or the
Oh,
flowing
Oh, yeah.
water.
Yeah.
absolutely.
That
Me
works
too.
for me.
That's like with one time we shared a motel room, me and another soldier, me and instructor, and he slept with lights on. He had to have lights on to sleep. And I like it dark.
Mhm.
I mean, I like it pitch dark. I like
Yep.
that, do the
Yeah, me
braille
too.
system to find the toilet milk,
Yes,
you know?
yes, 100%.
And I said, well, can't we reach some kind of a compromise? How about a little night light or something like that? He says, I need a bigger light than that. And I said, can you put a flashlight in front of your face? Will that work? It's just amazing what people are used to go to sleep with. And we're getting down to 56 minutes. So we're about ready to run out of time. So you know what time it is, Charlene?
It's time for music.
It's time to get up so we can get down. Tim, would you be so kind as to close out the show with some good old music? Because we're going to make this a good old fashioned.
Absolutely. So, my mantra is I lean on you, you lean on me, and we don't keep score. That's community.
Okay.
And that's how we've made it through this whole journey of life. And that's how we're going to make it through the pandemic, through community. So we're going to do a little lean on me to head on out today. So what you can do by listening right now to me, you can either tap along on a desk or on your lap. You can snap along, you can clap along, you can hum along, you can sing inside, or you can sing out loud. Now, for the purposes, I don't know if there's a delay between us. So you may want to mute yourself if you're going to tap or sing along. But please engage along. And that's the whole idea, is that we want to engage our body with music. It makes it a whole lot more fun.
I figured he'd ask me to mute.
So here's the beat, right? Tap, 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 tap. Sometimes in our lives, we all have pain. We all have sorrow. But if we are wise, we know that there's always tomorrow. Lean on me, sing it. When you're not strong, I'll be your friend. I'll help you carry on, for it won't be long till I'm gonna need somebody to lean on. You just call on me, brother, when you need a hand. We all need somebody to lean on. I just might have a problem that you'll understand. We all need somebody to lean on. Lean on me when you're not strong. I'll be your friend. I'll help you carry on, for it won't be long till I'm gonna need somebody to lean on.
Oh, my man. I was tapping my toes so hard on that one, brother. I think my toenails grew right through my socks. That is so cool. Now, I saw Donna back there, and she was getting with the program back there backstage. She's there, master control, and oh my goodness! Why don't you come on out, Donna, and let the folks take a look at you there, and because you got a beautiful smile, share it with the world. Come on out. There she is.
There she is.
Man, you had it going, Tim.
This is one of my favorite. It's one of my favorite moments, because you know what we don't see right now? Zoom face.
Oh, yeah.
You've seen Zoom face, right? This is Zoom face. And
That's
whenever,
classic.
yeah, there you go, Donna. Exactly, right? Or they got their phone, right, just off screen, like we know they're not scrolling on their phone, you know?
Yeah.
But the beauty is that when we make music together, this is what happens. This
Oh,
what we
yeah.
see on camera right now, this because we play music,
Oh,
and
yeah.
boy, could we all use a little play right
Yeah.
now.
Can we do the show again? I want to get you scheduled on the radio show too, my man, because we've
Great.
talked about it. We hadn't done it. We'll do it right after we quit the broadcast day right here.
Sounds great.
Ladies and gentlemen, I bet you didn't know we were going to have that good of a show, did you? I didn't either. So, and I want to personally thank Donna for being with us, just in case the power went off here in Texas, which is not unheard of in this day and time with all the problems we got, for filling in at Master Control and going to fill in case I, got yanked off or whatever. Charlene, it's always a pleasure to be with you. Thank you so much for everything you do. Tim, my man, appreciate you, brother.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Jim.
I love all the great information you shared because, man, you were singing my song so many times, and I hated to interrupt you there, so please forgive me. I just felt moved.
It's all good.
Oh, yeah, you bet. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you so much for tuning in, and we really appreciate all the good folks out there that's been listening to the show, watching the show, I should say, because our numbers just keep going up and up and up, and we're getting information around from all over the world. And I'm running a little bit over, but I'm having such a good time. I don't mind if I get in a little trouble. Be sure and email us at Inspiration E360 TV if you want the information on the free webinar. Free to come, free to leave, and you will have your own 6-minute webinar is our gift to you. On behalf of the Tim and Charlene and Donna, I'm Jim Grant. Thank you so much. We'll catch you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.